Hello, true believers. This is Corey coming at you with the first. I'm actually doing a video recording for my blog and my YouTube page and an audio recording for my podcast, recording at the same time because I wanted to cover this on both platforms, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Also, excuse me if I have a little lisp because I'm still in the first week of my Smile Direct Club invisible aligners in my mouth, so there's a little lisp there. But last week, I had, after the urging of my psychiatrist, I had a clinical ADHD testing last Wednesday. 2 days ago, Wednesday, today being Friday the 17th, I got my official results back. And I just wanted to talk about them. It's psychological assessment. And there was a lot of testing. It was 3 hours of testing, and I left feeling I talked about this on my podcast, I left feeling very defeated, very frustrated. I felt very stupid, just because it was a bombardment of all of the, I guess, worst things about my brain, if that makes any sense. Like, there was the behavioral observation she did, and I'll go over the different test results. And she worded this in such a easy to understand manner, and I'm appreciative of it. But we talked about my growing up abused as a child, physically, emotionally, sexually. We talked about low self-esteem and my depression. And so, sorry as I'm going over this. So the results of the different tests, there was a 15-item memory test. And I basically was within normal limits for that. Then there was the abbreviated scale of intelligence, sort of like a small scale IQ test. I was in average range of that. There was the trail making test part 2, which is sort of like there were numbers all over a page and I had to connect the dots, so to speak. And then there was like, I had to do number letter, so like 1A, 2B, like all the way to Z. I demonstrated with an average range of that. Then there was the Connors continuous performance that it takes a look at impulsivity. That's the one I was talking about on my podcast, where they flash letters on the screen and you hit the space bar, except when you hit the letter X, and you're not supposed to hit the space bar. I was horrible at this. This was so frustrating. So Mr. Queen obtained 2 atypical T-scores, which is associated with a moderate likelihood of having a disorder characterized by attention deficits. Specifically, there was some indication of impulsivity. Then there was the adult ADHD self-report scale. It's a self-report measure that assesses the presence of typical symptoms of ADHD and how frequently these symptoms occur. Mr. Queen completed his form and identified symptoms of ADHD such as difficulty with organizing, planning, focusing, distractibility, hyperactivity, and fidgeting. Because I just adjusted myself when I was reading this. The Beck Depression Inventory is a self-report inventory used to measure symptoms of depression in adults. Mr. Queen's results were within the severe range. The Beck Anxiety, I was moderate with that. The Personality Assessment, excuse me, that was very, the Anxiety, Obsessive Compulsive, Traumatic Stress, Depression, depression, activity level, irritability, thought disorder, affective instability, identity problems, and negative relationships and stimulus-seeking scales were elevated. The incomplete sentence blank, that was where I talked about my podcast where they wrote like a couple of words and I had to complete the sentence, is a projective assessment of adjustment and personality. Mr. Queen results indicated themes of painful childhood memories, abusive parents, feelings of low self-worth, and symptoms of ADHD. On the other hand, he expressed love for his wife and children. Because I love them. It's pretty easy to do. So it goes on to the diagnostic impressions. And it's that post-traumatic stress disorder, thank you mom and dad, and my family. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, combined type. So inactivity, hyperactivity, combined type, major depressive disorder, recurrent, moderate. So it's hard because I've had these results since, well, I got them Wednesday and then she emailed them to me, and it was really hard to look at them. I don't know, talking about my low self-esteem is not a problem to me. Reading about what I think of myself somehow makes me very uncomfortable, and I'm not quite sure why. So it's been hard. It's taken me a couple of days to read through all of this without just skimming over things, because it is glaringly apparent what I think of myself. And like I said, talking about what I think of myself isn't a problem. Just having a mirror held up to it, for lack of a better term, whether proverbial, somehow makes me uncomfortable, and it does. To be honest, there's relief in getting this official ADHD diagnosis. Sorry, because now I feel like my brain isn't broke, like I have thought it has been all these years, and like I was told by my family and by my parents, that I'm stupid, and just I know I think differently. So understanding this as I think differently and doing some more research in how I can make this work for me instead of constantly fighting the stream, going upstream when I don't have to, like constantly fighting that movement and figuring out, okay, my brain works differently. It is clinically proven my brain works differently. That is not a negative. That is just like saying someone has blue eyes, someone has green eyes, someone has red hair, someone has a certain brown skin tone, someone has a different brown skin tone. It doesn't make it negative, it just makes it different. So getting that diagnosis is actually some relief. I've had a couple of days to think. Yesterday I had a colonoscopy, my voice is still sore, so I apologize. It's been a busy beginning of 2020 so far. But here I am at 47 years old getting diagnosed with ADHD, and it feels a little freeing. I want to do some research and some things that will help me with the different symptoms, so I'm not just screaming at myself in my head of how dumb I am, or how stupid I am, or how why can't I think like everyone else, which is always symptoms I've dealt with. I now have the ability and the power with this knowledge to sit here and go, okay, what is it that's going to complement the way that I think? Not try to instead of going upstream and thinking I need to change the way I think, and when I don't change the way that I think, punishing myself emotionally. So I'm happy to get that diagnosis, and moving forward to see what will be next for me. So, drop comments, or if you're listening on the podcast, leave voice messages or leave comments on my social media. Those are always linked into this. If you have ADHD, when you were diagnosed, was it later in life? Was it earlier in life? What are some techniques and tips and tricks that you use? But thank you all for the time it's been listening. And I posted my diagnostic results on my social media yesterday, and I really want to say thank you for the outpouring. Some of it was public, some of it was private messages and texts that I got. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the love that everyone shows me. I do not think, and I say this because I've heard the term used, I do not think I'm brave in talking about my mental health. I just think that there's no reason to be ashamed, and I do battle that still. Let's keep that. Let's keep it a buck. Like, I battle that still, as far as not being ashamed in talking about things, not be ashamed in picking up medicine. And when I have those moments, I make myself be public about something so I cannot be ashamed, because this lifespan is too short to be self-punishing ourselves. It's too short to put ourselves on our own hiatus, for lack of a better term. We all have things going on, good, bad, or indifferent, and there's no reason to feel isolation, because we have different things going on, and hopefully we're all surrounded by people that truly love us and truly understand us. beyond social media, beyond hashtags. And so giving someone, in this case, getting some knowledge about myself has just been helpful as far as giving myself a little bit more grace. I'm not stupid. I'm not broken. I just process things differently. And that's not negative, it's just different. As a runner, I'm not the same runner. I'm not the typical runner as my other friends are, but I've never beat myself. That's a lie. I have beat myself up about it. Let's keep it a buck. I have beat myself up about it, but I'm trying to get better. So, let's talk. Tell me what's going on. If, like I said, if you're dealing with mental health, speak out about it. I'm always here. Thank you guys very much. Until next week, one love.